The prisoner craftily used a spoon provided by the prison guard to pry open the skirting board on the wall. From inside, he retrieved a small mirror he had hidden earlier. Using the handle of the spoon, he then shattered the mirror into pieces, carefully selecting the most regularly shaped rectangular fragment and examining it in his hand as if it were a precious treasure. This piece would serve a crucial purpose later on. At this moment, his companion beside him reminded him just in time. Jack quickly realized and gathered up the remaining shards from the floor. Just as Jack was about to flush the evidence down the toilet, a guard suddenly arrived for an inspection. In a panic, he shoved the mirror into his mouth, but didn't have time to flush away the fragments in the toilet bowl. If the guards discovered them, the consequences would be unimaginable. Luckily, this was just a routine check. While the guard was searching his companion, Jack hastily pulled the chain above to flush away the incriminating evidence. When questioned, he claimed he had just used the loo and forgot to clean up afterwards. This reasonable explanation raised no suspicion. The guards then proceeded to ransack the room, overturning everything and even checking under the bedboards, as prisoners had previously attempted to use the metal bars to dig escape tunnels. After a thorough search, they found nothing unusual and left. Once the coast was clear, Jack took out the rectangular mirror piece and tied it to a toothbrush, fashioning a makeshift periscope. By extending it out the door, they could now effectively monitor the corridor for any approaching danger. With this early warning system in place, the prisoners could carry out their escape plan without fear of detection. Their escape tool was, in fact, the very bedboard the guards had been wary of. They unscrewed the bolts and removed one of the more manageable sections. Next, they shifted the pile of papers in the corner and used a spoon to pry open the floorboards, exposing the concrete beneath. Their plan was to dig a hole right there. However, this would inevitably create a tremendous racket. The others grew concerned the guards might hear them.
Faut que tu cognes. Je crois que t'as raison. On ne peut pas faire autrement. Dans une heure, on aura percé ou on sera tous au cachot.
Undeterred, the man simply increased his efforts, much to the alarm of a newly arrived inmate who covered his ears in disbelief at this seemingly suicidal endeavor. Just then, a guard approached. Astoundingly, the man showed no intention of stopping. The others could only pray silently that they wouldn't be heard. Miraculously, the guard seemed to have gone temporarily deaf and walked right past them. It turned out that well before initiating their plan, the prisoners had bribed their neighbors with a large pack of cigarettes. In exchange, the neighbors deliberately broke their toilet and requested a repairman. The noise from the repairs would effectively mask the sound of the prisoners chipping away at the floor. Although this hurdle had been overcome, the concrete proved far too thick to break through quickly. After a while, an exhausted Jack was relieved by one of his companions. They took turns hammering at the floor until finally, after several rotations, they managed to break through the concrete. Now all that remained was to dig out the dirt underneath. They deployed a bucket from the cafeteria as a makeshift excavation tool. One prisoner was tasked with digging while the others were responsible for moving the displaced soil, packing it into bags. In no time at all, the inmates had painstakingly carved out a sizable hole. Testing it with a lit torch, they discovered the tunnel led underground. If they could locate a drainage outlet down there, they could use it to escape. To ensure the success of their plan, they decided to send a scout down the tunnel that very night. But first, they poured all the excavated soil back into the hole and covered it with the floorboards to avoid detection during any surprise inspections. In preparation for the night's mission, they crafted 2 dummy figures out of waste paper by pulling on a string. These decoys could be made to move, creating the illusion of a real person. When bedtime arrived, the guards came to check the cells. Jack and another companion swiftly moved aside the floorboards and hid while the others dutifully lay in their beds. As the guards approached, the prisoners signaled to each other and simultaneously pulled the strings attached to the dummy figures, generating the impression that the other 2 were still present. The deception worked flawlessly, and the guards left none the wiser. Once they were in the clear, Jack retrieved a hacksaw and other escape tools he had concealed in the floorboards. The 2 men then proceeded to execute their plan, slipping down into the tunnel. Due to copyright restrictions, the film can only be shown up to this point. For those who enjoyed the movie, feel free to watch the original. The name of this film is The Hole.